Good evening and welcome to Up South for all the top news stories from South India today. I'm T.S. Sudhir. Our top story today is from Bengaluru, where the city police has denied permission to the Kiss of Love event that was to take place on the 29th of November, that Saturday. The city police says that the public display of affection that could have taken place between 4 and 6 p.m. at Town Hall in the city was considered an obscene act as per the Indian Penal Code, and therefore permission was not granted.
We have examined the application very carefully. There is a background to this particular program called Kiss of Love. There were certain incidents in Kerala state where some so-called moral policing individuals went and ransacked a coffee shop where allegedly some youth were indulging in so-called obscene acts like kissing, etc. And in retaliation to this and in response to this, large number of social activists, including youngsters, protested in a number of places, including in Cochin, wherein it resulted in publicly kissing each other. It has happened even in Delhi also. In the absence of any clear program laid out by the individual who applied, after considering the background of the similar incidents that have taken place, we have come to the conclusion that if we permit this particular program, it will lead to public display of kissing and such other obscene acts as defined under Section 294 of the IPC. Section 294 bars any obscene act in public places, and prevention of any cognizable offence under IPC or any other law for the time being in force is the fundamental responsibility of the state police under the Karnataka Police Act, Section 65D. In keeping with the responsibility that rests upon us as per KP Act, we have decided to deny the applicant the permission to hold any such program called Kiss of Love.
Joining me on Up South now is social activist Vidya Dinkar from Chennai. Also, Pramila Nasargi, well-known advocate and social activist, joins me from Bengaluru. My colleague Rohini Swamy is also from Bengaluru. Vidya, to you first, your first reaction to the refusal of permission by the Bangalore Police Commissioner.
I'm actually shocked that the police in Bangalore refused permission because, look, they should go by the IPC. And the IPC nowhere says that, kissing in public is obscene. It doesn't say that. It does say that if it offends several people, but this is a protest. So it needs to be looked at differently. Any protest annoys a lot of people. So the Supreme Court has said in the Richard Gere and Shilpa Shetty kissing case that there's nothing that it cannot be made out into any kind of case, and Richard Gere was exempted from appearing. So definitely it's against constitutional rights of people to assemble to protest, and it's against the IPC. So the police should not be going by the morality of the public or someone who shouts out loud. That's all.
Ms. Pramila Nasargi, you heard the Bangalore Police Commissioner giving a very elaborate explanation on the reasons why permission was not granted. Would you say that the reasons for refusal of permissions were the right ones?
Definitely. We only wanted that decision to be taken by the Commissioner. He is in the right direction, and it is for the good of the state, especially for women.
Rohini, a lot of different shades of opinion coming on whether the Kiss of Love event should have been allowed or not been allowed. What is the ordinary Bangalorean on the street really feeling about this, or does he or she feel too much is really made about nothing?
Well, if I can say that in terms of voices in Bangalore, the youngsters do feel that it's a freedom of expression. They would like to go ahead with it, and they felt that the police commissioner's reasoning was not very good, and they would like to have gone ahead with it, not affecting anybody. But also a point that has been raised by the police commissioner that adequate information was not given by the organizers, saying that they cannot take responsibility for anything that took place. I'm here joined by Pratibha. Pratibha, if I can ask you, what is your feeling? Do you think that the Kiss of Love campaign should have taken place? No, not at all. It should not have taken place. I for one say lip to lip or lip locking in public by anyone with anyone should not be allowed at all. Any other form of kissing like flying kiss or cheek to cheek kiss is absolutely fine. But the point is that it was about a protest. So they're trying to lodge a protest against moral policing. The bigger picture is moral policing and not about kissing. No, but this is entire thing is getting corrupted. Now the entire country, the young generation is getting corrupted. This should not be allowed. Lip to lip, lip locking in public or severe form of expressing affection in public should not be allowed.
She's in line with what the police commissioner is saying, but here I also have Jyotish. Jyotish, I can quickly ask you, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not a lip lock, absolutely. I'll tell you one thing. If I'll meet my dad, obviously I'll touch his feet, I'll hug him. If I'll meet my mom too, that's called love. And obviously, maybe after this, she'll become my friend. So obviously, second time.
Show of
we're gonna
affection.
Hug. Absolutely.
And Raj, do you also feel that this kind of public display of affection is not obscenity?
See, nobody is stopping anybody from showing your affection. We hug friends, we give them a kiss on their cheek, which has been happening for years, but nobody is stopping it. But people protesting for it, I think it's waste of time because youngsters have a better job to do. And I think people should promote not to piss in public instead of promoting to kiss in public. That's what I would like to say.
Well, that's his line. You should promote the fact that people should not piss in public rather than talk about a kiss of love campaign. So we're looking at a different campaign completely. But the point remains that Bangalore is voicing out saying that yes, they have mixed responses, but they would feel that maybe the freedom of expression could have been better handled.
Right, Rohini, stay on with us. Pramila Nasargi, this has been mounted as a protest against moral policing. That's how it started, at least in Kerala, and we have seen instances of moral policing taking place in Bangalore, in Karnataka. But would you say that you are basically against this form of protest against moral policing?
There should be madness, there must be method in madness too. There are various methods of protesting. This is not the way to protest. If you want to do it, you do fasting, do some other thing. This is not the way. I can't really understand. Say, after all, you can say the health point of view also, this is not good. Openly, you may call it as moral policing, but nevertheless, there is some sort of moral policing is required when the women go out of the way, or they have to be protected. In either case, the women have to be protected, and in that event, if the police take action or moral policing is done, I don't think it's a bad thing. Only when you go out of the way, you see, when you come in your fundamental rights, you have a right of thinking. That is where a man differs from an animal. A woman also is a part of the society, and if she thinks that is her right, you can't question it. Whether it may be her dress or it may be her movement, walking in the midnight, all these things are fundamental rights. Those things we don't question, and no one has got the right to policing, moral policing.
Vidya, the fact that an act of kissing in a public place in Bengaluru can also be a law and order issue, and that is one of the apprehensions of the city police there. We saw what happened on Sunday night at M.G. Road in Bengaluru. Do you think India and Indian cities are really ready for this kind of public display of affection?
India has been a land of contradictions. You have the Khajuraho and Konark friezes of age old, and suddenly you have this new morality that shouts out loud that you cannot have anyone kissing in public places. So I think it's the business of the police to look into law and order, and they knew the time of the protest. They could have seen that these moral gundas, are kept at bay, and that was the thing that they had to do, not refuse permission. A few young people wanted to protest in a novel, perhaps from some people's point of view, a frivolous manner or a provocative manner. But I think they should have been given the space for dissent, the space for protest is shrinking, just as women's public spaces are shrinking.
Final word to you, Pramila Nasargi. The organizers say it's an expression of their freedom of speech and expression against moral policing. Why object when they are essentially talking about the need to have freedom and expression?
One's own feelings, not by kissing, but thereby you are taking diseases. I can't advise our ladies to have diseases by themselves. We do not know. It may be HIV, or it may be Ebola, or it may be something else. I don't want our ladies to have this disease, much less for any one of our society. That's not the way.
Right. Thanks a lot, Vidya Dinkar, Pramila Nasirgi, also Rohini Swami with all her guests there coming live from Chennai and Bengaluru. In fact, staying on with news from Bengaluru, yesterday we had reported on the incident that took place late on Sunday night, around midnight, when a group of women were harassed. In fact, harassed by a group of 5-6 men, and the entire incident was filmed by one of the women from inside their car. The 6 men have now been arrested and charged with criminal intimidation and stalking.
A case was taken up under section 354D and 506 of Indian Penal Code in Kaban Park Police Station, based on a complaint registered by one of the ladies. Post the registration of the case, investigation was taken up rapidly, and the Deputy Commissioner of Police Central, Mr. Sandeep Patil, and his team worked tirelessly to detect this particular case. They have succeeded in arresting 6 persons whose names are Nagesh, Harish and Devraj from Bangalore, Kiran, Satish and Subramani, who are residents of Hosur in Tamil Nadu.
Time for If Sai Baba of Puttaparthi had been alive, his 88th birthday would have been one grand celebration, with thousands flocking to Puttaparthi in Andhra Pradesh. But not anymore. The pilgrim town has lost much of its sheen. With many people actually not coming in, the number of tourists and devotees has fallen drastically. Pratibha Raman travelled to Puttaparthi for this special report on the decline of the pilgrim town.
Till 3.5 years ago, this 25-room Sai Ram Lodge in close proximity to Prashanti Nilayam in Puttaparthi would spot the house full board. But now, not anymore.
अभी 12-13 रूम्स करना भी बहुत मुश्किल होता, क्योंकि आकर क्या करेगा, वो गरीब आदमी है, आपका इधर आकर पैसा देकर रहकर खाना वाना खाकर कोई ट्रीटमेंट भी नहीं होगा तो
32-year-old Nagraj, who has run a forex business for the last 18 years, says footfalls of foreign pilgrims and tourists has dwindled drastically.
Previous we are turnover for because four crores. Now it's not 1 lakh also.
Before Sai Baba passed away in 2011, there would be at least 5,000 foreigners staying in Puttaparthi at any given time. The foreign registration office says number is not more than 800 now.
It's declining a lot, especially the Westerners coming less. Oh, my English. Decreasing a lot, yeah.
No surprise that many shopkeepers have moved out.
Especially about Kashmiri shops, there were more than 100 shops. Yeah, 10-15 left.
Even the real estate business in Puttaparthi is not doing so well. An area of at least about 5,000 square feet that used to cost at least about 1 crore rupees in 2010 now has depreciated to just about 75 lakh rupees.
The Satya Sai Trust says people are yet to come to terms with Baba's demise.
Baba's devotees are thronging to this place as usual. They find same peace, they find solace. Of course, the Baba's that beautiful, lovely form, the physical presence we do miss, people, everybody miss.
Our Honorable Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu is very much interested in Bhagavan Satya Sai Baba and Puttaparthi also. In many times in assembly or in cabinet meetings, he is telling, we wanted to create a monument, this Puttaparthi, to the international level.
It is clear that Puttaparthi, as a pilgrim town, has almost fallen off the map. Only the social work done by the trust keeps the memory alive. With Pratibha Raman, Bureau Report, Headlines Today.
Meanwhile, in neighbouring Telangana, the state has admitted that all is not well with the technical education system in the state and has decided to engineer a major overhaul. 1 in every 5 engineering colleges will shut shop as they have found no takers.
The number of engineering colleges in Telangana is set to see a sharp fall, with the government set to shut down colleges that have not admitted any student. 60 of the 290 colleges have not admitted a single student, with the supply of seats far more than the demand.
Most of the colleges are not up to the mark in terms of the quality education imparting the students or the other things. Therefore, government has some definitely in order to protect the interests of the Telangana students, and they have their own that plan.
Students from outside Telangana are not eligible for seats in engineering colleges in the state, and that is also proving to be a hindrance in filling up the surplus seats. Educationals say the rule should be amended.
The government never utilized that policy. They have restricted to only Telangana students. Because olden days, actually number of seats were less, number of seekers were more, therefore the rule was formed. But today, situation changed.
Students admit it's a waste of resource to run an entire college based on a meager strength of students admitted in the first year this year.
Maintaining such a big college for only few members. I mean, there are less in numbers, so only in 2 digits numbers. How many admissions? You said in CSE 12, every branch has 12 out of 10. Only 4th years have, I think, 40 members. 40 number of students are filled. Maintaining such a big college was a difficult task.
While the decision to shut down the zero admission colleges is seen as a logical fallout, the need now would be to ensure that the quality of technical education is of higher standards, so that the BE degree is not just a fancy piece of paper without much value. With T.S. Sudhir, Ratnika Sharma in Hyderabad for Headlines Today.
That's it then on Up South this Tuesday evening.